Hey, you. Thanks for tapping into this Untapped Keg podcast where we talk about sobriety and mental health so that you can take something and use it in your own life. We believe there's only one right way to get sober, and that's the way that works for you. I'm RJ Zimmerman, and I am excited to be joined by my friend and I would say most frequent guest on the podcast, uh, Up for the Challenge from Up for Mental Health. How are you doing today, Up?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I probably am one of the most frequent guests now, which is kind of weird because, of course, I actually don't. I hmm. I was gonna say I don't have a problem with alcohol, but maybe that's just something I haven't realized yet. But I am English. It's so yeah. No, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay today. I keep realizing that I seem to have bags under my eyes that are worse than normal, which, given the fact that it's the afternoon for me and the morning for you, may suggest I need a little bit more relaxation. But I'm doing okay.
And, for me, that could be allergies, right? Like my allergies are like, it's flipping February. It's February and my allergies are off the walls. I don't know what is going on this year. Usually it's like
Hmm.
March to December or so. And then like January, February, I'm okay. Nope. It's flipping February and I've already got them. And it's like, dang it.
You got hay fever then, or
It's just a stuffy nose that when I know it's allergies because I take my daily allergy pill,
yeah?
it goes away.
Oh,
Whereas if I don't take it, it like my nose runs all day.
so does hay fever make sense to an American? I don't know if that's an English term.
Okay, so like hay fever to me is like when your allergies are more than just a stuffy nose. Like you have
Oh,
red
okay.
eyes, runny eyes, like dehydrated. You might have a little bit of a fever, but like that's more of like hay fever to me than
Oh,
what.
we're just call it kind of levels, whether you have a little bit of hay fever or whether you have really bad hay fever. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. Okay, so that
okay,
makes sense.
that
Yeah.
makes sense then.
Yeah. So is it a bit warmer there at the moment then? Is it like a warm February for you?
Actually, it's been a little bit cooler. It's pretty. I mean, it's mild where I'm at no matter what, but it's been like the average. It hasn't been an actually warm winter. Last year was a lot warmer, and it didn't have it. So I don't know if it's like something in my house. There's more dust, stuff like that, or maybe there's a spot that's moldy that I haven't found. That like because
Yeah.
two little kids running around, you never know where the spills are. You never know if there's going to be some mold somewhere.
That's true. Or you just like me and you just don't tend to do that much cleaning because fuck that. But yeah, I mean the weather is a bit up and down at the moment. I mean Christmas, and granted this was winter, but Christmas in Florida was colder than the UK. The hell, Florida?
I don't come to you for air conditioning, Florida.
I'm just out in Florida going, how is it 2 degrees hotter in England? What the fuck?
Yeah, the weather has been, for the last 10 years, really just different. And
Mm.
so, and speaking about different, if you're looking to have a different relationship with alcohol, why don't you go to untappedkeg.com and look at some of the coaching programs that are offered there and see if there's something there that you'd like to interact with and sign up for a call, see if coaching is for you. So, Up, for those who don't know, can you give us a little background on Up for Mental Health?
Yeah, Segway King there, by the way, from RJ. But so yeah, so Up for Mental Health is a mental health charity, a small mental health charity in the UK. It really got birthed out of the fact that I used to be a mental health streamer on Twitch. Haven't done that for a couple of years now, actually. Jesus, life
Where
goes
does the
along.
time go?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So that's where I kind of came from, and I was interacting with mental health there and other people in the mental health space. Met yourself and some other people on there, and thought, you know, this isn't. I mean, I created a list of helpful phone numbers and websites and stuff that actually other mental health streamers started to then use as their default, and just thought that there's something more I can do here because other people don't seem to necessarily have the same way of thinking as me about as you said at the beginning, the only way of kind of getting sober is the way that works for you. And that wasn't necessarily something that was being used as terminology for mental health at the time. Of like, for me, it's always, if it works for you, it works for you, end of. And so I just thought, well, other charities are doing this. They're going down the counseling route. Other charities are going down the research route. And so, is there a charity that just creates something for like things that you can just start to get into that then help you as a kind of therapy rather than just the talking therapy? A lot of people, from myself, I run as therapy. I do martial arts as therapy. Some people game as therapy. And actually, during the pandemic, especially, there was research into mindfulness. I think it came out of University of Cambridge, how mindfulness and well-being was actually improved in real time through specific gaming. I think it was actually Plants versus Zombies. Love that.
Makes
And
sense.
yeah, and Farmville. I think it was Farmville or something like that. Those were the two that they used. And despite older research that kind of said that gaming was bad for it, none of that was in real time. They did this in real time, and it showed mindfulness, mental health and well-being improved during that time in real time. And there's a lot of research about how hobbies can help you about these things. And I was like, well, okay, so this isn't just my thought process. This isn't just me. I'm a very kind of facts and figures person. I was like, okay, so this is just a thing. So let's do something about it. Let's do it. We hit a roadblock kind of immediately because of nonsensical ways in how we do it in the UK. The way when it was originally created, we actually lost one of the original trustees because they had other commitments. So we kind of rebranded. Well, it didn't rebrand, but we kind of relaunched, got the right things in place, and then went for it again with a load more things. So we now have a load of videos online that are always being updated as well, that are in cooking, that are how to start a podcast, that are how to throw yourself in martial arts, things that you might get into that might help your mental health, that might be something that you find enjoyable. There's so many people out there that like cooking. Okay, well, here's a couple of recipes. Why don't you follow this and put yourself in a place where you're like, okay, this is a good place for me. This is relaxing for me. This is good for me, because that's still therapy. It's therapeutic and by default therapy. So that's what we do as a mental health charity. We've now also brought in the training for practitioners in mindfulness to try and bring that into it as well. And we also started last year and continuing to this year to be in real life, so to speak. So we're going to be out in the public. We did our martial arts for mental health, which was showing people kind of get them involved in martial arts and having more of a connection with their own body, but also talking about how there's an interaction with anxiety and things like that in the same space. So I kind of garbled that into one, but that's kind of who we are. We are a mix of different things. And the main thing is, if it works for you, it works for you. And we don't necessarily want to go down the same standard paths as everybody else.
And that's that's the beauty. For those who don't know, like, I am also a trustee for Up for Mental Health. And that's the beauty of it, though. Like, when we talked about it, that got me excited is being able to take these things and translate it to, oh, you can use this in your real life right now. Like, these are things that you can take and do that will give you a return on investment that is very quick, instead of just people saying, oh, you should do this thing for your mental health. And it's like a very high barrier for entry, which for people in the United States, people in the UK, from like what I've heard all around the world, getting in, finding that therapist is a high barrier for entry because there's wait lists. There's, in the United States, it can be expensive. Other places, like, you're worried about the stigma that's attached to it. But if you go to a group of people who are learning martial arts, that's something you can do really quick. It's a very low barrier to entry, and you get those returns very quick. You learn how to cook. That return on investment is very immediate. And now all of a sudden you can use that and you get into this, oh, I actually enjoy doing it. This is something that I've always kind of thought, oh, I would like to learn how to do this, but I've just stopped myself from doing it. And now that there's an easier way to start, there's this video online that I can follow. Oh, I really like this. I like how this tastes. And I feel really good afterwards too. Like, better than I do when I have Taco Bell or McDonald's or, insert your fast food here. Um, And now you have some more control over that. And that's what it's all about, is being able to take things that they seem like maybe it would be a little bit far off in the future. How can I use it now so that I can start to really enjoy it? And you never know the benefits that you actually get from them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not gonna like you're not coming to one of our things to become John Jones. That's not what it's about. But it is kind of bringing you into the kind of go, okay, and we do them in kind of um spurts of like a month of doing it, because we don't want it to be a kind of standard cooking class or standard martial arts class or anything like that. It's about kind of having that interaction and understanding yourself, and then giving you an idea of, okay, well, this is something I think I'm going to actually take on board. This is something that's definitely helped me with my anxiety, with my social issues. I'm going to find a club, or something like that. And so it's giving you a way to kind of, okay, let's try this without having to, like you say, with a therapist. There's waiting list. Yes, there's cost in certain places, but also the other one, and probably the one I think probably gets more people, is who gets the right therapist first time out? Like,
Yeah. Yes.
it doesn't
Yes.
happen. You just, you have to go through all of them. If you're having to pay for it, or you're on a waiting list, that's just hellish. Whereas if you know that something helps you, if you know that when you're feeling stressed, you go into your room and you game. Hey, that gaming's probably helpful kind of therapy. So let's figure a way of getting you into that space then. Let's figure a way of helping you. Now, maybe in the future we'll be able to get a game developer to come in and teach some basic code. I don't know. There's loads of things we can. There's everything we can do if it's there. So I think that's the thing as well. It does just give you that ability to immediately start. There's the video, and these are videos that are made for us. They're not on YouTube. So there's the video. Right, we can interact with that. Okay. Oh, I really get, and I've said this before. If there's something you're like, this really helps me, tell us. We'll find someone to. Well, this is also the people that are doing these videos know what they're doing. We haven't just gone down the road. We haven't just gone to the pub and said, anyone know how to cook? Like, we actually got people that have worked in, like, for the cooking videos, for instance, they are people who have worked in kitchens and have done, and for the martial arts, they are trained martial artists, and podcasts. RJ's on there. RJ's one of the videos telling you how he started podcasts. So that's the thing for that. I think yeah, and like you say, it's a low barrier to entry, and I think that's really important, because how many people, when they're in just a low mood, I'm not talking about people in crisis, because that's something we don't really deal with, because that's why we have those numbers, because those numbers on our resources, they have emergency numbers. But if you're somebody that's really suffering from stress, I just need to do something. Well, hey, why don't you try this? It's there. It's there. It's free. It's easy to access. You don't have to worry about anybody judging you. I think that's kind of behind it as well.
Mm. And that you don't have to worry about anybody judging you thing. Like, that is something that is the lowest barrier to entry. Is, yeah, there's nobody else there to worry about how they're looking at you. It's just, if I fuck it up, I fuck it up.
Yeah.
And try again. Or, nah, this isn't for me, I fucked it up. Or wait until you feel like trying it again and seeing how it goes. Like, it doesn't have to be this massive thing that we build it up for. Like, something that I use as a hobby is cooking. And I know when I get away from cooking, because my mental health, where I start the day is lower than it would be if I had been cooking some meals during the week and really putting myself out there. So, like, that's something that I pay attention to now. But how I got started was Blue Apron. Like, I had cooked a little bit, but I didn't cook a lot because I didn't know that many recipes, didn't really know my way around. So I decided, when my oldest child was born, I'm going to order Blue Apron for a couple months to make it easier for, my ex and I with the kids. We don't have to go shopping. The recipes are right there. I just make it. We have a decent meal. And that taught me how to cook for myself. It was basically taking a cooking class, but it was all like right there. And so having these YouTube videos like laid out, or the videos laid out so that there's not super long, really easy to understand, that it's that same thing. Like, okay, I could do this pretty easily. And if it takes me longer than what the video is, that's okay. There's nobody here to be like, that took so long. Like, I want to eat now. I want to eat right now. Like, come on. But instead, it's just you get to focus on what you're doing and see how you actually enjoy it rather than how somebody else is kind of waiting on what you're doing.
Yeah, I was going to ask what Blue Apron is, but I think you've explained it there. I've heard of similar things, like a box that comes through with recipes, right?
That's exactly
Okay.
exactly what it is. It's the box, like 3 meals, 3 to 4 meals at a time you can choose. It gets delivered to you with the recipes in the box,
Yeah.
and then it walks you through step by step. Everything's pre-measured, so you just take it and pour it in, and yeah.
I mean, that's how a lot of people, though, that type of thing is how a lot of people start. I mean, I don't know
Hmm.
about you, but in the UK, I when I was at secondary school, I had cookery class, which is actually quite funny because I knew how to cook beforehand because my mum was a baker. But so making bread in my class was brilliant because I didn't actually follow the recipe. I followed my mother's. But that is the same kind of thing. It's like, oh, here you go, kids. That's the way a lot of people learn. So you go from there. It's quite funny when you said about I want to eat now, because it just reminds me of Sorted Food, because there's one of the people on Sorted Food called Jamie. He always, when he's cooking, like they do a relay challenge, because it's a bunch of friends. Some of them can cook, some of them can't. And he always grabs something else and goes, "This is snacking food whilst I'm cooking." It's always, every time, this is snacking. I'm intrigued now. Put you on the spot. Have you looked at the recipes on the website?
No,
Ah, ladies and gentlemen, well, we've got a couple up. I can't actually remember which ones they are, but there are a couple of them up there that are easy. I think one of them's a fridge cake, so that's a nice and easy one. And actually, an English fridge cake, a tiffin. So
I need to now. That is something my youngest is really getting into. Like, he wants to bake and he sees these things
oh
and he's like, can we make this? And so hearing that, yeah, that is something that I'm going to be doing next weekend with my youngest. So that'll be a lot of fun.
oh
I'll
yeah,
post an update when it
Tiffin
happens.
Tiffin is a brilliant one. I think the Tiffin is like, I'm almost certain the Tiffin's up there. But if it is Tiffin, that's a really good one for kids. So that's the thing as well, guys. If you're doing this for yourself, there's also a way to connect with your kids. It may be that you do martial arts through there and go, "Oh, I'm interested in that. Oh, that's something I can do with my kids or my partner or something," and that can
Yes.
also help other relationships as well. So it kind of branch out of what you do, because the things on there, even, and I know there's parents out there that think, no, bad, even gaming. Oh, well, maybe my brother wants to play and we can do that together. Maybe my dad wants to do that, because dads out there, dads who have a go at their kids for video gaming, look me in the eyes and tell me you didn't play Tetris as a kid. All right, because you did.
Mario, right?
Yeah, on the NES, and I know for anybody out there that's a little bit younger, yes, there was something before the SNES. It was the NES, and hell,
And it
I
was better.
had Pong as well. Previous to the NES, I had Pong.
The
I
Atari.
had the Commodore. So,
Okay. Okay.
I've
I should have
like,
guessed because I knew that that was more popular in the UK. So,
yeah, it was. It's, yeah, because the Atari Japanese, I think it's just nearer to you. We had the Commodore, yeah.
yep.
And those things help, and they can help you do something with the kids. And like I say, if it's, for instance, it is the right one on there, the tiffin cake, and you're saying about, you want to get your kids involved, something like that, something you can find out there that gets you involved. There's no oven. It's all fridge. Let's just mix things together, maybe melt some chocolate, but mix a load of things together, put it in. We've got like bars of chocolatey things that you did, and makes you feel good because you've also, there's so many things you can do from those. And it is important, like you say, when you're not cooking, you start to realize, oh, I haven't cooked in a while. I do the same thing when I'm not running, and that's actually been a thing for me recently, that I'm just like, I feel shit because I haven't done a marathon in a while. And it's like, I know for some people they're just going to go, well, that defines you as crazy for doing marathons. But but I'm like, that's something that I found helped a long time ago. During the pandemic, my God, I couldn't do martial arts. I couldn't really run anywhere. I was like, I don't know, well, I'm gonna go stir crazy. And I bought a rowing machine. Like the first thing I did, I bought a rowing machine in the pandemic, because I was like, no, I need to do something to keep me going. And that's it. The therapy is way more than just talking to someone.
Yes. And it's when you have these things that know, like how can improve your baseline for your mood, right? Let alone your mental health, like where your brain is, like day to day. So are you ruminating on the things that are going wrong, on the negativity, or do you get to a place where things just are? And as you go through it, you notice that you can experience the joy and the excitement of things. And then you can also experience some things that go shit, but when they go shit, they're not world enders, right? It's just, oh, this just happened. So when you notice you're in that space, take stock of what you do every day, like, or every week, or, and then when you get to your mood being low, you can go back and be like, what was I doing during those times that my mood was at a place where I could start to like feel everything. And then you could be like, okay, am I doing these things? No, I'm not. How can I incorporate them back into my life? Like things that I've done. I've fallen off of working out for a couple months and I've looked back and I'm like, what was I doing during that time that I'm not doing now? Oh, I wasn't, I stopped kind of going to my Kung Fu and workout class. Like I thought I could work out on my own. I fucking didn't. I need that class. It's going to help me. What, my body's not feeling like great. I'm feeling kind of bloated. Oh, I haven't been cooking for myself. I've been, making the freezer meals, making these the microwavable quick stuff because I'm a single dad. So those quick things they can be the only thing that I'll eat in a day because I got to do something quick. And now that's all I've been eating. Oh, I need to take 30 to 45 minutes and just cook something decent.
Mm.
And okay, another thing that Up is going to love is journaling. When was the last time I
Oh, it's in
journaled?
my head. Ah,
Right.
yeah.
And so, like, okay, I go through different cycles of journaling. I will go through journaling every day for a few months, and then be like, I'm not getting the benefit from journaling that I was during then. So I'm just going to do it when I feel like it. And then sometimes I got to go back to journaling every day because it's like, okay, it worked for me that I was doing it for a few months when I felt like it, which was, it's usually like 3 or 4 times a week. Oh, I need to go back to every day because I notice that I'm not clearing the things out of my head that would make space for new ones. And so understanding and looking back at all of these things, I'm like, I can see where it lowers my mental health baseline every day, my mood, different things. Okay, I want to raise that baseline back up. I can go back to these things that I know I can bring into my life and they'll work. It's one of those things too is trying new things.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a long time since I tried something new.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you started speaking, and in my head, I just went journaling.
Yeah.
'Cause I mean, I'm a big proponent. If anyone remembers the days of my streaming, double journaling, specifically double journaling, because it allows you to do both, kind of almost like a diary entry, but also at the same time making sure to take stock at your ups and downs, almost like a written graph of how you are, whilst also secondarily saying what's going on. So I'm a big proponent of double journal. I think it can be very helpful because, and especially if you're in talking therapy, because one of the big things about talking therapy is, hey, you know, how have things been? Well, just, all of us will go, it's fine. Oh, things that, well, hey, here's my, I know exactly how I've been, what I've done, and so taking stock of it is always important. I mean, yeah, the things you said there as well, and things that you may not even realize, I think, when you do stuff sometimes is that's also giving you something else. So, for instance, Kung Fu, sticky hands is going to give you have you got into sticky hands yet? No.
I'm not sure.
Movement of hands together as one.
Oh, with somebody else?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So sticky hands. So that also gives you something else. That also gives you a movement, a connection to somebody, far more than
Mm-hmm.
necessarily just throwing them. My background's judo. So there's also a different type of connection there that you may not even realize that you're getting out of the thing you're doing. Because in your head, it's just like, okay, I've missed Kung Fu, but actually, I've also missed maybe some kind of true human interaction and touch and just anything
Yep.
like that. And yeah, it is good to be able to recognize and see that, and you can see the ebbs and flows, and you might go, oh well, because I like this, that also means I'm gonna like that. Because you might go, oh well, actually, maybe salsa dancing is something to do now because you're dancing with someone, you've got a connection with someone, you're doing that. I did salsa like I don't know 2 months of salsa, and I'm lucky to still be here. I think I I think I was near to breaking every bone in my body, but it's, you know, it's one of those things that it might be right for you because you've realized that, because there's a ping pong machine in a lot of our brains that go, well, that's right, so there, and then you know, it's that kind of journey, I think.
Yeah, absolutely is. And life gets lifey from time to time, right?
Yeah.
Like life gets in the way, and sometimes we have to drop some of the things that are going to be a benefit to us. Like my kids have been sick for the past 2 to 3 weeks, like going back and forth from one to the other, one to the other. And it just ends up being, well, okay, this is I can't go to my workout class. And some of it, you're right, is the community, is that connection that I have with the people there. That's why I push myself harder when I'm there than I do at home. And then, but my kids are sick. I can't just go drop everything I'm doing and go to my workout class or drag them along while they're sick. Is like, that's irresponsible. So I had to miss it for a week and a half.
Mm.
Okay. No wonder why my mood is starting a little bit lower. When is the next time that I can make time to go to that? Let's make sure that I get there. And if I can't, okay, let's put in some more walks in nature into my schedule, because it doesn't give me that same level of a boost, but it gives me something so that it raises the floor a little bit. And that being able to understand what works, all these little things that you can add, things that you can do to be able to, supplement sometimes when your ideal things don't work out. Okay, this is something I can do that will fill in good enough for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, seeing those and understanding those, and that again, that's kind of why we have the videos, and we're always looking for more people. If you know your stuff on something, do contact us, because we can put that in, because that's the point for some people. Is, I mean, especially during the pandemic, and that's probably one of the bigger things behind the charity as well, is that so many people are finding stuff online because they weren't able to do other things. You know, I wasn't able to. I mean, a big one for me that I didn't even mention was travel. I travel a lot. I've so far, I just came back from the US. I was technically in the US for at the beginning of this year, although I flew back, but I was there for at least a day in the US because I was there for Christmas and New Year. I've been to my God, where have I gone? I've been in Finland and I've been in Albania so far this year, and I constantly love to travel because it helps sometimes with things, and so that wasn't possible. Okay, well, what can we do around that? Can we talk about different cultural interactions, and maybe then we move into the cooking and show, okay, well, this is the cooking from this kind of country or whatever. And it's so important to have that, as you say, as a stopgap for sometimes, but also sometimes as an eye opener of something else that actually you might enjoy. That, you know, your walks in nature might turn into a jog in nature, and then you go, oh, actually, this is all right. Okay, cool. Or sightseeing, and you might turn into a bird watcher, or you know, always enjoy. You know, it's fun seeing all the colorful. You know, and that opens something else up. Because I think so often, especially when we're kind of stuck in ourselves around mental health, we aren't open in any way to something new because everything feels like it's too much. Because we've tried it, we've seen it. That's what's beating us down, and it's just giving you something. If it's clicking on a video that some part of your brain relates to, or you know, seeing somebody else's story that you have some um, interaction and understanding of, that's really important to then kind of move you forward and move you in different directions, and you start to see that there are things out there that may be helpful, or just that there's something out there, because that's also something that I think a lot of us can feel when we're in that kind of hell, is that there is nothing out there. You know, we're putting on a show or a website or whatever just to try and feel anything. And so to try and have those things that you can interact with is kind of why we do them, whether that's a short-term thing of like, oh, well, I just like watching this workout that you've got on there. I just like watching someone play D&D. We are looking for D&D people, by the way, on the charity, to please. So, but or that it's, you go, actually, you know what? That you have that little bit of lucidness and you're going, okay, I've got to eat something properly. Oh, okay, there's this. I'll try this. just those interactions, I think, are so important because so often we lose sight of there being anything else. And I don't know about in the US, but a lot of time in the UK, it's like, okay, but you need to make the step. You need to come and do it. It's like, yeah, but I don't want to. Like, if you're at home, you've got your phone. Your phone is always on you. That takes a lot less interaction. You can be in bed, not getting out of bed, not watching anything else, and still scrolling or looking through sites. So you can still interact with some of the videos that we have and maybe hopefully get something out of it. Whereas a lot of the time it's just like, well, we've made this appointment for you. Fuck your appointments. I don't know when I'm going to feel shit. Your appointments mean nothing to me. Like,
Yeah.
so I think that's a really important thing for people as well. And that's kind of why we do it.
Yeah. And, you know, everything that we're talking about here, which is fairly purposeful on our part, is introducing ourselves to mindfulness and like taking this awareness that we are creating, cultivating, and the self awareness that we have, and intentionally, removing some of that judgment that we can have inside. And okay, what is working for me? And being able to work through so that, oh, I know this about myself. I know if I'm, my mood is has a little bit of a lower floor right now. Like that's where my neutral is. That's where I'm just starting from. Okay, I can add these different things. And sometimes just that excitement of something new is enough to give you that boost that, oh, I forgot what excitement really felt like. I thought that I knew what excitement was like, but this excitement, I really like that. And I like the feeling at the end, like I've accomplished something, that I did something that I really liked.
Yeah, I mean, and mindfulness, as you say, being quite purposeful about how we talk because it's something that we are now introducing. Well, it's always been there, but it's something we're introducing as a course for the charity as well. Everyone's kind of going through the course until we kind of fully allow it open to the public. But it's something that I've kind of always interacted with of seeing who you are and like you say, whether something is really exciting. Because how many times, and if anyone remembers from when I was a streamer, there was a specific phrase that was goddamn banned. I'm fine. Nope. Try again. Because that's something, and I think that's that kind of the first step of mindfulness, is that's our response. Oh, I'm fine. Yeah, 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 yeah. Because you're at work and it's been a busy day, so I'm fine. Okay, right now let's try again and again and again. How are you in this moment? How is your mind truly? Now, it might be that when you get down to it, you're having a fucking awesome day and you just haven't had time to stop and realize how awesome it is.
Yes.
You've got, I don't know, you've just got a brand new job, you've just got a tax rebate, you've just got a new partner, you've just got you just won the lottery, whatever, and you're like, actually, you know what, I'm fucking fantastic. But that's not what your mind tells you. So your mind isn't even allowing you to be truly excited or uplift the mood because I'm fine means nothing. It means nothing. If you're truly good, you say, I'm good, I'm awesome, I'm great, whatever. If you're bad, you say, I'm shit, I'm bad, I don't know what I'm going to do. Fine means nothing. It means nothing when it comes to our mood. And it's just the automated response that so many of us do. And it's why it was banned when I was a streamer, because fine means nothing. And I think once you take away that, and yes, if anyone remembers me from when I was streaming, I was literally making you be mindful. It was forceful mindfulness. It's to try and get you to go, okay, how am I really? Because you
Hmm.
may not also be awesome. You may be nearing the depths of hell. You don't know because that hasn't caught up with you yet. You're going too fast. But when your busy week ends at work, when your busy month ends at work, when you're actually have that talk with your partner that you've been putting off, whenever that happens, suddenly you're going to fall off a cliff. Whereas if you were actually mindful, seeing it, understanding it, accepting it, being non-judgmental of your actions in the moment as they are, one, you could be amazing. Okay, I'm really good. I want to take advantage of this. I want to set things up to try and keep my mood at this level as we go forward, or at least make sure that I don't drop. Or, okay, things are about to happen that are not good. I'm not good right now. Before I fall off that cliff, I want to put fucking barriers up. You want to be able to be aware and understand without having to be judgmental of how you are. And I think that's why a lot of people say I'm fine, is because they're worried about the judgment, their personal judgment of it, or somebody else's judgment of how they're actually doing. I always say this between the UK and the US, one of the worst things, and it's just second nature to us in the UK, but one of the worst things we do is we ask you how you are as a greeting. Are you all right? Is literally what we say, and we're not asking, which is a weird thing. Are you? Here's the little tester for anyone from the US that comes over. If we say, "Are you okay?" we want to know. If we say, "Are you all right?" it's hello. But it's very confusing for a lot of people. But also, I would say in that is, if in the UK we say, "Are you okay?" we are asking you. Fine isn't the answer. We're actually saying, "Are you okay? Tell us." And actually allow yourself to give an answer to friends as well. Because, if your friends are asking, "Are you okay?" they're your friends for a fucking reason. Like, tell them, you know what? I am fucking terrible. Or, actually, guys, I won the lottery. Drinks are on me. On this channel, that's lemonade. But for me, rum and coke. But it's what it is. It's actually understanding how you are, and I think that's a really purposeful thing that we don't allow ourselves to do sometimes.
And it's something that when people ask me, in a lot of places in the United States, I'd say most, it's, hey, how you doing?
Mm,
Like, and it may not even be the, hey, it's, how you doing? How's it going? How's
yeah,
it, how's life? Those kind of things. And it is just kind of like agree to, like, oh, fine. Yeah, good.
mm,
Like, but what I do now is I'll sit and I'll pause, and they'll see me kind of like looking up and looking around. They'll be like, yeah, I'm pretty good. Or, it's going. It's not great, but things are moving forward. So that's enough right now. And they're like, wait, what was that pause? And
yeah,
I'm like, oh, I was checking in with myself to see how I'm actually doing. Like, how is today actually? How is the past week? How is the past month? Are things actually do decent? Like, sometimes my answer is busy. I don't really know right now because it's busy.
yeah,
So I literally cannot take stock of what those emotions are because I am too busy to actually be able to check in and feel. I just have to keep moving right now because that's what I have to do in my life. And that's okay. Like, there's times that that's going to happen. But when you slow down, can you take that inventory? Okay, what am I actually feeling right now? Where is it coming from? What is this feeling in my stomach? Where is this originating from? Oh, this is coming from that moment that happened 2 weeks ago before I got like right at the beginning when I got super busy. I haven't been able to process it till now. I have a little bit of I have a little bit of anxiety over that. Like, I'm really nervous. What if this doesn't work the way that I want it to? Okay. And now you can start to take stock of those things. And that's really, mindfulness helps with those tools that you're going to develop to be able to realize what is actually going on in your life and how you are feeling and can use it going forward. And so, like, with the course, having the vocabulary to be able to create these tools that you can come back to again and again, things that maybe you developed, didn't realize they were mindfulness, things that now you can intentionally bring out when it's necessary and maybe put into your life weekly, maybe put into your life 3 times a week, 4 times a week, so that you can take stock and just understand yourself going forward. And that's really something that's exciting.
yeah. I mean, and there's so many actions that you can make mindful actions. I think the big one for me is mindful eating. I think is one of the best ways of doing it, because the amount of people that maybe you're a food critic, I don't know, maybe you just like to cook, or maybe whatever. Being able to take the moment, and you can do this either with your meal, or you can simply do it with a bar of chocolate. I wouldn't advise American chocolate, but a bar of chocolate. You can just take that moment to really taste, to allow your focus to be there on that, so that you're allowing yourself to understand, see what you're doing, and be fully in that moment, to then allow you to move on to yourself. You focus yourself in on all of the experiences because you're still in that moment. It's not that you're taking yourself out of it, you are focusing it, but you are that experience, that taste, that satisfaction, that experience is still what you are. And that's a really helpful one because it allows you to kind of refocus. Because there's so many, like you said, there's so many mindful actions that you can do daily. And chocolate bar a day isn't going to do you that bad unless it's one of the yard of chocolate. You're going to be fine from that. And so that is so important. The one thing I would say is mindfulness doesn't need you to slow down, but I get the point. It's how you it's
Yeah.
what's best. We're going to use the thing that we both say here. It's what's best for you. If
Yep.
it needs you to slow down, you slow down. If you're not somebody that slows down in that fashion, then it's not something you do. But it's whatever's right for you. But that's the whole point of mindfulness, is to find out what's you. And the big thing that has an impact on your life is, I think it's one of the biggest ways of finding out whether you're self-sabotaging, because
Mm,
you're self-sabotaged at some point, but you don't know you are half the time. You don't realize it, whether it's that's a relationship, whether it's a job, you be doing something that, because either it could be a job because you have imposter syndrome and you just don't think you're worthy of that job. So you're doing things just not realizing it, that are sabotaging your place there. But you don't realize that because you haven't checked in, you haven't allowed yourself to understand how you're really doing right now, and to understand it and to see it and to be non-judgmental of your actions. Once you can do that, you can either think, well, actually, if I'm self-sabotaging, this job isn't for me, or okay, no, I can do this. I am right for this. And you can adjust that. Same thing in relationships. You can think that your partner's too good for you. And
yep.
or you could be somebody that is so worried about um them leaving you because that's been the past. And so you're actively doing things to push them away. You don't know that. They see it, but you don't, because
Hmm.
the person in the crowd tends to see the game better than the person on the pitch. So I think that's something that's so important with mindfulness as well, when we're interacting with it, because it's full awareness of what's happening right now. And it's that awareness that has to happen along with our relaxation and openness to understand it. Because we can be doing mindfulness actions. Wine tasters do mindful actions. They're doing mindful eating effectively, but they have no awareness of truly what's doing it, because their mind is so secured on something else. But then once you add in that ability, that's different. There's so many ways in which we can interact with it, and so many of us do mindful things that we don't even realize are mindful, and that's the separating point for a lot of us.
And for those who don't know, pitch is a soccer field for those in the United States. Like, just want to make sure everybody's aware of
Is a pitch not any other sport in the US?
there's a pitcher for baseball.
That's what I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah. So they like there's but that's not the field, like,
Right. Okay. I got you. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure that people I also wanted to, talk about some of those cultural differences that
Yeah. Hey, UK and the US are two countries separated by the same language.
Yes, yes, absolutely. But when you have sarcasm to bridge that gap, like, now you're not speaking English, you're speaking sarcasm. That's why we get along so well. I'm gonna keep making that joke because I beat jokes in the ground. Let's go.
That's also something to be aware of, actually. If you're looking at stuff online, and even with
Yes.
even with our videos or anything that's helping you, be aware of the way that we use words differently, because those words can mean completely different goddamn things.
Ooh, yes. That is something that I teach my clients, like, and others. I have so many videos on this on social media. Define words for yourself, right? Look at the context that they're using the word so you can kind of figure out how they're using the word. Maybe you have a different word for it. But if somebody keeps using these words that you see on social media, that you see in these other spaces, and you don't understand it, create your own definition for it so that you can apply it to your own life. Like, it's in the same realm, it's in the same like understanding of that, what that word is, but making it your own makes it so that you can implement it into your life a lot better than than you can otherwise, right? So, like forgiveness, I've defined forgiveness for myself. Like boundaries, that's just a word that so many people use. It's used differently all the time. So, taking those things and defining them for yourself is really, really important. And then also have that understanding, like you just said, that the way that people use words are going to be different than you because they're their own person. They have their own understanding.
And yeah, cultural differences. I mean, such a stupid one that I remember because I had for self-defense classes, I had two clients come over from the US, and we were in the hell were we? We were in Hungary, and we saw penguins, and we had a discussion about the domestication of animals. And I found out that domesticating does not definitively mean the same in the UK as it does in the US. So simple words, words that for all intensive purposes are the same, there can be something just a little bit different. Because what the points we were making was in American English, pigeons were the first domesticated animal. In British English, they weren't, because the domestication means something just a little bit different in the two languages. And it's so strange because domestication in all other terms, domestic, dog or the domestication of dogs, is the same. It means exactly the same.
Yeah.
One tiny little thing. It wasn't until I literally Googled the word because I couldn't understand the argument we were having. I couldn't quite get because I'm like, but I'm not wrong. But they were adamant they weren't from the same thing. And I was like, what the heck? And I literally found it and just went, oh, neither of us are wrong. And that's also
Yes.
as a point to make with
Yes.
mental health is that you may be talking at cross purposes, but you may not be wrong. One of you doesn't need to be wrong for both of you to be right. It's like you can be right without them being wrong, and they can be right without you being wrong. And I think that that's important. And it can be such a small nuance in language that completely changes it. And it's really important to see. And I think a lot of times when we do cross purposes in terms of mental health, that one little thing can just really fuck it up for someone, even though what they were saying was actually helpful if you'd have understood or if they'd have understood you.
Yes. And then like the thing with social media too is that lack of context. Like you have to get things through so quickly that you remove some of that context to make it work. So having that understanding that, oh, I kind of like what they said, but don't just take it verbatim. Take it and try to figure out more information about it because there's probably some, as you said, nuances. There's definitely some context that's missing out of that you'd be able to use probably.
Mm.
And that's important to remember too. So up as we're kind of winding this down, people want to stay in touch with you. How can they best do that?
Yeah, so I mean, come over to my podcast is probably the easiest one. So I have the It's Good to Talk podcast. So come and check in with us there. That's where I am. I do not exist on social media anymore. When I left as a streamer, I left social media full stop. So that is literally I exist on YouTube and YouTube alone. But do of course go on to upformentalhealth.org. That's where you can find the resources. You can find a bit about our expertise. It's the way I worded it. I made the website. But kind of where we are, what our knowledge base is. So self-development, for instance, is under RJ, mindfulness and meditation is under mine, and then personal policy makings under mine and different things like that. So you can read up a little bit about us and who we are, but also get those resources and just how you might be able to help. So that's always a good one to check out. But yeah, It's Good to Talk podcast. I'm sure in the description will be the details as well, so you can find. But I do have some other YouTube channels, but I think if you're looking for me in terms of who I am here, that's the one that's going to be the right one for you.
And where can they find more information about the charity?
Oh yeah, like I say, upformentalhealth.org. So that's the one, upformentalhealth.org. Just go on there and you can find out kind of when it was created, what was the point. That was written when I was probably a little bit more lucid, so it'll make a lot more sense than potentially how I said it here.
The thing about as we've talked about this entire podcast, mental health, even if you want to take it to sobriety, everything around that, taking these little steps is a part of your mental health. Taking these little steps is a part of developing that life that you're choosing to live how you want to live instead of just letting kind of life take over and being caught in the circumstances of it. The circumstances are still going to happen. Like the life is still going to happen. It's just how you approach it, how you bounce back, how you interact with life is going to change. Honestly, it is going to change for you. How you look at it is going to change. And that's something that will allow you to be who you want to be going through life. And that's really important. So go to upformentalhealth.org, and just check out some of those resources. Leave some comments. Let us know how we're doing, some things that maybe you'd like to see. Give us some suggestions if you'd like to record a short video. Do all of that good stuff. And then go to Ups. It's good to talk channel and let him know how amazing of a person he is.
Oh,
So
and actually, sorry, also completely forgot, stupidly, the Up for Mental Health YouTube channel as well. So you can go over there and we have some podcasts and also a couple of guided meditations. Sorry. So yeah, you can go check that out as well.
yes,
Subscribe and keep in contact with both me, RJ, Leah, and everyone else as well.
yes, and there's some really great podcasts there too that you'll get a lot from. That it's not just about what we talked about here. Like it's a lot of different life things that we talk about and just the lived experience that we can kind of relate to you. So um yeah, thanks for tuning in for Untapped Keg podcast where we talk about mental health and sobriety so that you can take something and implement it into your own life. RJ Zimmerman, leave us a 5-star review. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know how much you love Up so that I can show it to them and be like, hey, people want to see you back. So you're going to have to come back and be a guest. But yeah, if you could leave a rating, send this podcast to somebody who you think could benefit from it and just hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate it. Have a great week, everybody. Let's try to be better tomorrow than we were today because at least we don't make it. We tried. I love you.